Let's play some hockey tonight.
Energetic, passionate, and savvy. Gouche Live. Brought to you by the good people at the Hockey News and Sports Illustrated. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Gouche.
Welcome to another episode of Gouche Live, brought to you by those good people at the Hockey News and, of course, Sports Illustrated. What a day. Free agency has been fantastic, and I've got two of the best to break it down and tell us who they think was the best free agent signing and who maybe made a little bit of a mistake. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I've got my producer back all the way from Victoria, Jordan LaRoche.
Hey, Gooch.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. A little burnt, but as normal. So,
did you catch a fish?
I did not go fishing. I'm a little scared of the water. Going out that far in the water. So,
okay. Did you go go-karting?
Didn't go go-karting.
Our next guest loves go-karting, and a lot of things he does is all around racing and e-racing and e-sports and all that sort of stuff. We're really excited to have him. He's been a very busy guy, and he'll tell us a little bit about what his day's been like. To follow this young kid around is like you following me around, but I'm going at half his speed, right? And I don't know half as much. Ladies and gentlemen, I love this kid, Stephen Ellis, all the way from the Hockey News.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Are you racing in a go-kart right now?
Right now, I wish. No, tonight we my teammate in iRacing, he's got a really big race to potentially win the championship. So he's bringing me in tonight to be kind of his backup to make sure that he can't come last, because if he finishes ahead of me, that's perfect. So
are you a pit crew?
Distraction.
Are you the pit crew?
I will give him some very good tips, but I do plan on being a little faster than him tonight.
One day I'm going to wear my my fire suit that I got.
I just bought my first fire suit. I just got one for go-karting. I needed a suit that was better than just like a painter coveralls, and I ended up getting a really good deal on a proper fire suit that is it's really nice. So it's if my Facebook page has a photo of it, but yeah, otherwise
I'm gonna go look, and I may make an offer because I know you're a lot slimmer than I am. I am going to make an offer. You can buy my Roth Racing. It's pretty nice, hey Jordan? You've seen it.
Yeah, I don't know if it fits you anymore, but I'm sure it'd be great for Steven.
Stop that. Hey, good morning, John LaRock. How you doing, buddy? Good morning. Robert Wine, thank you for being back with us as usual. Of course, good morning, Stephen, from Jordan's father, all the way in Thailand. And, of course, Brady Leovold, thank you for joining us, and his buddy, Curtis Gabriel. Now, let's go right there before we get started on all the big things. That's a pretty big signing. What are your thoughts, Stephen?
Well, yeah, it's kind of cool because for the Leafs, there was always talk that they needed toughness, and you get the toughness in a guy that went out there and tried to agitate another team in a pregame skate. So I think this is a guy that will definitely bring that in. Like, he's not an everyday guy for the team, but when they go back to the normal format and you don't have the traveling taxi squad with you and you're just going to run with the healthy scratches, he'll be a guy that will be in and out in the lineup. But I think anytime he'll be in the lineup, especially against a division rival, you'll know. It'll be kind of feel like the Leafs of the 2000s when they went out there and had Mike Brown and Colton Orr and Brad Staubitz, except at this point it's
Ty Domi. No, that was a little earlier.
Ty Domi had a little bit more skill. Ty Domi could still at least score. Those other guys I mentioned could not score. So it's cool that he's got an opportunity to play because he's from Newmarket and that Curtis Gabriel. So that's pretty cool that he gets to play in front of his hometown crowd.
Yep. And, of course, Brady Leovold played with him, and really great to have you on, Brady. You're doing great things out there. Sam Trapolino all the way from Adelaide. I think they're still locked up, so he's going to watch our show. I know you're drinking milk, getting ready for your big race. 2 kids and an old dude. Not sure what he means by that. Hey, listen, as you know, I'll be in Winnipeg on August 13th. I'm playing in a reunion golf tournament for my team, St. Boniface Riels. So I just thought I would start this off with, of course, the Winnipeg Jets and their signings. I'm really excited about both of those defensemen. Obviously, Nate Schmidt, I like him. I think you can tell me what your thoughts are. I think he fills a void that the team really didn't have, and I think he's going to help on the power play. And Brendan Dillon, no matter what anybody says, I've met him personally. I don't know, like, He doesn't know me as Gouche. He knows me as Sir, because I'm way older than him. And he certainly is one of those hard-nosed, gutsy guy that I think the Winnipeg Jets need on that back end. Stephen Ellis did the Winnipeg Jets do them right.
I like Brandon Dillon. I think Brandon Dillon is definitely a good signing or a good trade there. They didn't cost a lot to bring him in, and that really addresses a need here. Where if you're looking at a Morrissey, Schmidt, Dillon, DeMello, Hanela, Pionk type thing, like that's a good group there. And of course, you got Logan Stanley, and you've got a couple other guys. Like that's a good group. When looking at Schmidt, I'm not exactly thrilled about how he played last year. I thought that he really kind of struggled in Vancouver. And when he played in Vegas, he had a better defensive system. In Washington, same thing. He went to a team in Vancouver that didn't have a great defensive system, and he didn't play well. So it'll be interesting to see what he could do. I think Winnipeg's defense now, like, even though Schmidt's maybe not my favorite player right now, I don't think he's a super high quality defensive guy. I do think at this point, though, this defense group is the best we've seen in a few years, and that's important there.
Well, and that's having Buffy there. Brady's saying he fought, I think he gave him a few stitches, if I'm not mistaken, Brady. I think I read that on one of your posts. Listen, the Winnipeg Jets, of course, had some great defensive, remember back a few years ago when they had Buffy and the boys there. That was a pretty good defensive core. I think Dillon brings a little bit more grit that they haven't had for a while. So I'm really excited what's going to go on. Obviously, we got to wait till the puck drops, but I think they addressed very well their back end. But Nate Schmidt, $6 million cap space. So what they're going to need is they signed obviously Stastny for a 1-year term. He wants to stay in Winnipeg. He loves it there. Doesn't want to move his kids around. He's got to play better. And I think the key person in the Winnipeg Jets is not the defense. It's a forward, and his name is Dubois. He has to have a much better season than what he had last year. Take it that he was obviously through the COVID, the quarantine, the injury. Now he's got to come with a clean slate, and the Winnipeg Jets need offense from him.
Absolutely, especially right now when the team only has 8 forwards signed, and that doesn't include Andrew Kopp, who is not signed right now. But this is a team that's going to be needing to make moves there regardless. And I feel like almost like we talked about their defense not being great, they might need to move someone. That's why I didn't love Nate Schmidt's the trade there is because that's $5 million in cap space that they could have used towards getting a bit of more forwards. And if you believe in guys like Logan Stanley and you believe in guys like Dylan Hanela, then you won't need a guy like Schmidt. But for forwards, they need a way better season out of Pierre-Luc Dubois. Obviously, last year was just a tough start because you had the long layoff between the end of the previous season towards the start of the new season, and he didn't end up really playing that well. He got cut from Columbus and then goes to Winnipeg and just, again, didn't play well. He had to serve a quarantine. So a lot of things kind of went against him. He's got a chance to kind of refresh, rebuild, and hopefully take the team on a long playoff run. So I don't think we've seen the end of Pierre-Luc Dubois. I think he's going to be a solid player. It's just he's got to start strong because it was not a good 2019.
And his buddy, of course, signed for $7 million or over $7 million in Columbus. So we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
That was a qualifying offer, by the way. He just accepted his qualifying offer.
Okay, all right. So Robert Wine's coming in. Sam Trapolino, you'll hurt Kerry's feelings. He's crying on his show, might not be the best. Hey, listen for a second. It's called Gouche Live. It's not Steven Live. It's not Jordan Live. It's Gouche Live. So these kids are propping me up. I got no problems with that. And, of course, I'll take it easy on you. Golly. Hey, Matthew Meisner, all the way from Argentina, is popping in. Every time Buffalo does something I think is good for them, they do 3 things that are questionable. I'm starting to get worried. Well, listen, everybody should be worried if you're in Buffalo.
Well, this is a team right now that has 0 signed goalies. So there's that. They got guys in the AHL, but that's not exactly the same thing. Like, they lost Card Hutton to Arizona. They lost Linus Ullmark to Boston. I think that one's a really big deal and probably signals what could be the end of Tuukka Rask's NHL career if I'm making a prediction right now. So I think here, when you're looking at it, it's this team would love somehow to get rid of Jeff Skinner's contract, would love to get rid of Kyle Okposo's contract, but at $9 million and $6 million respectively, that's hard to do. So they're having to go here, and they got $31 million cap space, which is actually outstanding. They got a lot of room to play with here. But they only got 10 forwards signed, 5 defense, and no goalies. And then, of course, you got Jack Eichel. What are you going to do with Jack Eichel? I still think that
hang on. If you're reading on the right-hand side, our producer's putting some stuff up. There's talk maybe with the Rangers, a goalie from the Rangers for the Eichel trade. Alex?
Georgiev, which is good, but that's not even. I don't know if that's an upgrade from what Linus Ullmark was. So there's that concern there. So the Rangers has been one that's been talked about, but also kind of to a point where they probably won't be going to the Rangers. It looks like they could be going to Vegas, but Vegas doesn't have a goalie to offer there. There's also Montreal, which has got Caden Primo, obviously. So they've got some opportunities with a couple teams. But the problem is those opportunities are starting to dry up. A lot of teams are not willing to give the big assets for a guy who can't seem to agree with the team as to what the next course of action needs to be for his health. So I think that one's going to be really tough to move. It's always tough to move a big star. Everybody would want Jack Eichel. It's just, how do you make it work? So I don't know. It's a tough one.
Jordan's hoping that he ends up as a Ranger. I know that he's excited about that. Listen, I know I've only got you for a few more minutes, so I really want to get into, if you don't mind, there's been lots of movement. Free agents have been crazy. Why don't you give us your top 3 free agency signings first, the ones you like, and then give me your bottom 2 that you said, wow, that's a little bit too much money for him.
Well, first off, there was about 1 billion signings today, so there's quite a few. I'd say Dougie Hamilton being the big one for sure. 7-year deal, $9 million per season, which is less than Seth Jones for a guy who's definitely better than Seth Jones. So that's a big one for New Jersey. And obviously Carolina, that one's tough because Carolina, everyone kind of picked them as a team to be a real cup contender. And they went out there and they lost Alex Nedeljkovic, and they brought in 2 good goalies, but nothing that's going to really light this team on fire, and went out there and lost Dougie Hamilton. So that's obviously tough. But Dougie Hamilton, I think, was an outstanding one there. I think Linus Ullmark to Boston, which happened about 5 minutes before Dougie Hamilton, is a really interesting one because, like I said, that's one where it's like, okay, does that mean Rask is done? He just signed to a long-term deal, and Rask, he's going to miss about the first half of the season. They've got other opportunities there where they can go out there and use someone else. So I think there's definitely a little bit of risk because Ullmark's not proven enough, but based off of what we've seen from the analytics and what we've seen from the goal saved above average and the high danger save percentage, he was outperforming what Buffalo was capable of. So you give him actual NHL defenseman in Boston, and I think that's going to be something that's good. So I actually do think that he's going to be kind of an effective player. In terms of a third guy, that's the one that was interesting was Ryan Getzlaf going back to Anaheim. I don't think anyone really expected that because he was older and everyone kind of thought, okay, this is over. Let's just kind of move on from there. But I'm trying to think of who else would be another good number 3.
Ryan Suter going to Dallas. I know it's
Jaden
not
Schwartz.
a bad one.
Jaden Schwartz to Seattle, I think, was a big one there too. That's a guy who signed a $5.5 million deal for a guy who he's been a 50-point guy 5 times in his career, so he's very capable of putting points up. And if you're getting 50 points at around $5 million, that's good value for a team that's got the cap space. So I do like Jaden Schwartz. I will say Seattle had so much cap space. They went out and got Grubauer good. Maybe could get one more good piece, but right now we're looking at that. I think that's a good signing.
Stephen Ellis from the Hockey News, give me the worst, the one that you're scratching your head.
I want to say just from a cap management, well, I'd say Tony DeAngelo going to Carolina with everything kind of going on there and how he's got a past of attacking his teammates, saying racist things to people. It's like that's one where it's like I'm not sure that deserved an NHL look again. Another one that was kind of interesting is I'm trying to find the exact numbers here, but was Dmitry Jaskin to Arizona for $3.2 million. This is a guy that it's only 1 year, and this is a team that's got the cap space, but it's a guy that was never good in the NHL, goes over to KHL, plays well there, but as we've seen in the past, that doesn't really mean a lot. Mm-hmm. So that one seemed like a big cap hit for someone who I would be shocked if he really deserved more than $1.5 million there. So I'd say that one's not a really good sign. But that was the thing today. There wasn't a lot of bad signings. So many teams had so much to play with that they were able to make signings that just kind of made sense. So it didn't really
$290 million was spent so far.
Yeah, I don't have that much.
$290 million.
I don't have that much.
I know. We got asked for a raise. I'm going to talk to Graham Roustan.
Exactly.
Hey, listen.
You pay me for all these times here, right? My rate's $10,000 per show, right?
Yeah. It's in the bank.
Perfect.
Your banking hours.
I just haven't listened in a while, so yeah. I know.
We got 5 minutes, so here we're going to go. I'm gonna fire stuff up at you. Really quick answers. Sam Trapolino's asking, Henrik Lundqvist, is he done? Will we see him ever again?
Well, so that is one. He's an NHL. He's an athlete, but that's the same surgery my dad had around Christmas. And I could tell you that is a tough thing to recover from. Now, granted, again, Henrik Lundqvist is an extremely fit athlete who played in the NHL. This is a guy that can recover from a lot of that. I don't know if we're going to see him play anywhere except for a contender that already has such, like, I would have thought he could have maybe gone to Tampa Bay, to be honest. You see what, if you say Lundqvist come play for cheap in Tampa Bay and you got a shot at the Stanley Cup, you play 20 games, but you'll be on a good team, I think he would take it. So I think he would have to go to a competitive team to make it work. Right now, I'm going to guess no.
I think Tampa Bay lost a lot of key assets in the obviously.
They did, but they have enough good players to make up for it that I'm not concerned with who they lost.
All righty then. Do you like the Krakens? Just give a real quick yes or no answer. Seattle Kraken, do you like what they've done?
Today, yes.
Is
Overall,
that a maybe?
I would say yes on the fact that I like that this team still looks like they're focused on the future more than the present. And that, to me, excites me when Shane Wright's available.
Anderson joining the Leafs backup goaltenders in Carolina. Like it or don't?
It's funny. He was drafted by Carolina. It's a homecoming of sorts. I think Carolina's got two good goalies now.
Zach Hyman signing. Are you, wow, the big money?
That's going to hurt. That's going to hurt after year 4. It's going to hurt after year 4. It's a lot for a guy who plays the physical, energetic game he plays. That's an asset that's going to depreciate pretty quickly, I think.
Sam Trapolino's coming in. He's a Penguin fan. Did they do anything that you liked?
No, they didn't exactly do a lot. So that's the thing. They really needed a goalie, and they didn't go out there and get any of the ones that were kind of key there. So not exactly a huge one for them. I know they were in Grubauer. I know they were in a few guys, but it didn't work out. Hey,
Philip Deneau going to Los Angeles Kings. Pretty big term. You're okay with that one?
I'd say for right now, yeah. I'd say it's a pretty good value, but at the end of that contract, again, I'm a little concerned for a guy who really struggles to put pucks in the net.
All right, listen, we got John all the way from Thailand asking the question, where did Halak go? We know that he went to Vancouver.
I do like that signing. I love that signing. Basically, it's a year and a half, or it's about $3 million in the AAV, but about $1.5 million in terms of actual salary. I love that one. It's cheaper than what Holtby cost them, and they get a guy who's put up pretty similar numbers. So I'd say that's a good one.
You've got to go, David Savard signing in Montreal.
Not a Shea Weber replacement, that's for sure. But he's in terms of defenseman, he fills a need in Montreal.
Seth Jones, you like that?
No, that contract's terrible. That contract is terrible. It's a guy that, without Zach Werenski, looked clueless at points.
All right, buddy. Thank you for joining us. I know you've got to go off. How many blogs did you write today?
I didn't write. I only wrote 4, but I wrote 123 blurbs about players today, including like obscure AHL guys.
You do an amazing job, buddy. We love you. Can't wait to get you on next week to tell us what actually happened, what went good, what went bad. And I'm certainly excited to watch your next race when you're in your little...
Next Thursday. The plan is to win. It's been a rough couple of weeks, but we're going to go out there and hope to win.
All right. We've been talking to Stephen Ellis from the Hockey News. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks so much.
Busy boy. I hope he gets paid big money. Hey, listen, let's get Jordan. Jordan all the way back from, I think he was in Hawaii. No, Victoria. Same kind of place. Jordan, listen, that was really good. He threw some stuff out, but I want to get into the goaltenders with you because I know that that's your key. You not only are you a goaltender, Jonathan Bernier going to the New Jersey Devils. Are you? I thought he was going to end up and stay, obviously, in Carolina, but they moved him, or he signed as a free agent. 2 years, 8.25, so that's $4 million a year. Nice signing.
Yeah, I mean, the contract money might be a little too much. I'm still not totally sold on Bernier either. He's kind of been like the number 2 guy wherever he's gone, but he's kind of getting number 1 money here. And he was he was supposed to go to Carolina. He was part of the Dalkovich trade, but Carolina did a great job getting 2, I think, good goalies who can really kind of. I don't know if they'll turn the team around, but they get a good, reliable backstop in there.
Good question for you. Your dad's asking. I love it. Is New Jersey a better team? I think just obviously signing Dougie Hamilton is certainly going to help that team, no question. Now they've got two defense, obviously with PK Subban. The numbers are ridiculous. But you know what's crazy? At $9 million, he'd still be fourth or fifth because Alex Ovechkin signed, I think, $9.5 million, and he'd be fourth on the Toronto Maple Leafs lineup. So think about that. Dougie Hamilton would be probably about sixth. I like what they're doing in New Jersey. I was confused why Dougie Hamilton would have went there, but you had a very good answer.
Yeah, no state tax in the state of New Jersey. So, I mean, you can get away with, so actually in theory, he gets all that $9 million. And you look at a guy like Mitch Marner, he'll make $7 or $8 million on an $11 million contract. So it's definitely something to think about. And it's part of the reason why Tampa Bay has just done so well. Florida, another state with no state tax. So
I got a question.
Yeah.
When are we moving Gouche Live's head office to New Jersey so we don't pay? Oh, we first got to get paid to actually have that. Listen, on the goaltenders, I know you said you like Kalak going where obviously in Vancouver, but of course Holtby going to Dallas. Are you in favor of that?
Yeah, just because right now we don't know about Ben Bishop. He's supposed to have surgery coming up, and we just don't know if he's going to be back even to come back at the start of the year. So I think this Holtby deal, it's a show me what you got contract. It's 1 year. It's for $2 million, and you know they're just gonna give him a year because he spent last year backing up for Thatcher Demko. Thatcher Demko stole that role from him, and I think Braden Holtby still got it. Won the Vezina in 2016. That's still kind of recent, and you know I've always liked Braden Holtby too. Just a really good guy. Does a lot of work with the NHL and the LGBTQ community. And I think that's a great pickup for Dallas.
Hey, listen, I got to just go off base here. Mike Hoffman, I know him personally through Zenit Konopka, signed a pretty good deal in Montreal. I think that's going to help him. I want to ask you about Martin Jones, obviously going from to the Philadelphia Flyers. Are you know, obviously they need a heart. I think if I'm not mistaken, he's at a hockey school right now learning how to be a better goaltender. What do you think of the Jones addition?
I think it's great. I'm trying to pull up the money here. It's sorry, I didn't write it down.
$2 million for 1 year. 1 year, he's getting $2 million. So it's a fair deal for Philadelphia.
Yeah, and he's going to be like the kind of 1B there. I wouldn't say like a pure number 2. I think he'll probably get 30 games this year. Just they want to give Carter Hart a little more rest, right? You know, the past few years he started a majority with their games. And we kind of saw this year that he really struggled trying to keep up. So maybe there's a little bit of fatigue setting in there. You know, the NHL schedule is quite a bit more than major junior schedule. So, you know, it kind of helps with that transition to the big league.
Listen, James Reimer left at free agency, went to San Jose. Carter Hutton to Arizona. Do you like that move?
I think it's more of a kind of safety net in case they lose Darcy Kemper. Darcy Kemper is going to be their guy, and Carter Hutton is going to be the backup there. But I just don't know if Carter Hutton is going to be what they really want. He struggled in the past. He was the number 2 in Buffalo this year. So again, it's just we don't really know how these guys are going to be coming out of the Buffalo situation.
Well, I'll tell you what, we could not go without these two. I have to bring this up for you Toronto Maple Leaf fans. Anderson goes to Carolina, as we had mentioned, but they signed Mrazek. Your thoughts? Is he the guy that's going to take the Toronto Maple Leafs to the promised land like a, I don't know, Eddie Belfour, Cujo, Johnny Bauer, obviously when they won their last Stanley Cup in '67? Is he the guy?
I don't think he'll be the guy, but I think him and Campbell will be they can turn this franchise around. I love Petr Mrazek, and the best thing is they signed him for a little over $3 million. And you know, a goalie like that, you see Freddie Anderson get paid close to $5 million. The Leafs can't really do that. So I think this Mrazek pickup's incredible for them, and I think he will start probably 60 games. No, sorry, I'll probably say like 50 there. But and then you have Campbell for the off chance in there,
and they'll challenge each other too, which is good.
Yeah,
right. You've got a good tandem there. Hey, listen, your dad's popping up again and said, "I scored on Carter Hutton. How good can he be?" Well,
that was actually, Carter Hutton was in Hong Kong. The last NHL lockout. Hong Kong has a big hockey tournament every year. called the Hong Kong Fives. And during the NHL lockout, Carter Hutton and I think it was Brandon Yip. I'm not 100%.
Yep, was there.
Yeah, they both came down, and they were great for the game. It was fun. I wasn't there, unfortunately. I was already in Canada, but the two great guys, and apparently they had a blast in Hong Kong.
Well, of course, John, I also scored on Eddie Belfour and Cujo in one game. It was a charity game, but I put one top shelf, one between their legs. That was in warm-up while they were stretching. So what about this signing? I'm kind of perplexed with Brian Elliott going to Tampa Bay. He's only going for $900,000. Why did Tampa Bay feel they needed to back up Vasilevsky?
I think that they lost McElhinney, and Brian Elliott's really kind of fallen off. We saw towards the end of the year, he was starting to get a little more starts in Philly when Carter Hart really struggled. And I do like Brian Elliott. It's just I don't think he's not the starter he used to be when he was in St. Louis. And I think this is kind of where he'll kind of end his career maybe, or just kind of play for a year to back up Vasilevsky. And he'll be like a pure number 2 there.
Listen, Sammy Trapolino, obviously he's living under a rock. You can't get to the internet. Jordan, will Seattle take Price? Now, do you mean the goalie Price, or will they just take a Price? You can tell them the bad news.
That happened last week.
He's in Adelaide. They're in lockdown. Really kind of confused out there. Hey, listen, Bobby B, I haven't seen you for a while. Thank you for joining us. Here's a really good one. Foligno goes to Boston. Is a little confusing. 3rd or 4th line filler player. It's not like a veteran leadership is a gap in that breakdown. Beantown, absolutely 100%. Is anybody upset what the Leafs gave up for this guy just to be kind of, a rent-a-player?
I don't remember what they gave up.
They gave a draft pick. I'm not sure where. They gave up a draft pick.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, he got beat in the first round by the Montreal Canadiens, and I think anytime you kind of you look back at that, it's not going to be a good sign. So I think that kind of just was a wash for Toronto. But speaking about Boston, though, I really like what they did today because David Krejci, who's a free agent this year, he's 35, 36 now, kind of in the twilight of his career. And then they go out and grab Eric Holla, who I think is a great replacement for him. And I think it was David Kemp to fill up that 3rd line as well. So Boston's done a great job today.
Yeah, they're a good. I'll tell you what, they've got a bright future, and they've got great leadership. That's a team that just put a couple more parts in there, and they're going to be obviously one of the contenders again. Listen, obviously we got to go to Carolina, but before we do that, to Colorado, because there's a little bit of a thing. I've been in lockdown and watching cricket. Okay, get off the cricket stuff. With the weirdness that goes on with China, do you, Jordan, think that a Hong Kong event will happen this year, next year, or ever again? Obviously, they owe 4 NHL games, not necessarily to Hong Kong. I know it's to Beijing. Will we ever see hockey, the NHL, go back to China?
Yeah, I mean, they want to grow the game there, and the Winter Olympics are coming up in Beijing as well. So Beijing's going to have a team. China's going to have a team in the tournament. I don't know how well they'll actually do, but it's all part of growing the game there. And the last few years, China has been just taking off for hockey. They love it over there, especially now with Cumberland Red Star in the KHL. Their popularity has just kind of helped the game grow so much over there.
Hey, listen, talk to me a little bit about the Winnipeg Jets. Obviously, with their goaltending situation, we know we know my buddy Hellerbuck. They've signed Eric Comrie. They lost Brisebois, I think his name. I always have a struggle with his name. Brisebois is gone. Do they not need a better backup than Eric Comrie?
Hellerbuck's going to start 60 games a year, so it's kind of tough, but maybe they have someone coming up in the pipeline. I don't know about their prospect pool too much, but when you kind of see a signing like that, where it's kind of a thumbs up, like a toss in the air, they usually have someone coming up who can fill that role, and maybe not right away, but in the near future.
Hey, listen, we forgot to mention in Carolina, my very good friend is gone there. He's come on the Ice Hockey Classic, Ian Cole. That's a nice pickup. He's a very, very good defenseman. And Sammy, you got to throw it in. Hey, boys, breaking news. Seattle passed on Price. You heard it first. Thanks for joining us. And those Jets will be playing in the new Canada Life Center. Absolutely. I'm in the dressing room. I will be there next week or 2 weeks from now, Bobby, and I will go see the Canada Life building. I'm actually, my life insurance is with Canada Life, so I'll go and see what my investment is doing. Here's one from your dad. Hong Kong versus Harbin. Heart of hockey in China. Jordan, tournament MVP. What's that all about?
Just gonna get you a little flashback to Hong Kong hockey. We had a little tournament in Beijing that we beat a team where we probably shouldn't have, and that was a while ago though.
Well, we're going to get you back on the ice. Don't forget, August 21st, we're having the Ice Hockey Classic at Paramount Sports. We will keep you informed as things come up. We just finished the jerseys. They look amazing.
Yeah.
I know I'm not supposed to say anything or showing. I'm not doing it. Check out tomorrow. I think we'll be making a huge announcement. Hey, listen, talk to us a little bit about the Colorado situation. Obviously, Grubauer's left. They now are really sitting with an empty house with goaltending. They have signed Makar to a long deal. They got to get McKinnon signed. Colorado, again, if Grubauer was there, I would say have a really good chance of picking up a couple of pieces and going back to win possibly the Stanley Cup. Wow. That's got to be a hole because they don't have a lot to choose from now.
Yeah, like looking at the kind of the depth chart for goalies right now, you got Devin Dubnyk and Brian Elliott is probably the top two. That's not going to cut it. They got to make a trade for someone. Georgi is available in Rangers land. Maybe Jake Allen could be someone they could go after. Like there's just no one left that they can sign. They have to give something up to get a goalie, and if they want to get a starting caliber goaltender, they are going to have to give up a little more. So you got to look at I don't know, maybe JT Kampf for another depth defenseman there. They have quite a few, so it's
they're going to have to make a trade. Hey, listen. Obviously, I want to ask you your pick of the day. What do you feel was the best signing today?
I think I gotta go with Mrazek. When you get a guy that good for $3 million, a little over $3 million, it just answers so many questions. It helps you be a little more flexible in the future, especially with the Leafs now. They don't have a ton of cap space, so this just gives them a little more financial flexibility moving forward. Maybe in a few years they get another goaltender. Maybe in a few years they can beef up the bottom six a little more. But it's just a good pick all around for them.
You know who I liked? I liked the re-signing of Tyson Barrie. 3 years, 13.5 in Edmonton. I think Edmonton needed that, and I think that's a good signing. And then they also picked up Cody Ceci, not a bad pickup too. He's a good, solid defenseman. And Halak is $3.8 million a year. Final question, and then I want to give you the final point. Is there any chance McKinnon doesn't re-sign? I don't think there's any way that McKinnon does not sign. He's said it on several occasions. He'll take a little bit of a haircut to stay in Colorado. However, this goaltending move could shake it up a little bit because he knows if he doesn't have a goaltender, you can score a ton of goals. But if you don't have goaltending, it's not going to make a difference. You can't win games in the National Hockey League 10-8 anymore.
Yeah, I taken a look at Colorado's roster because they had Paolo Francouz, who played a couple games a couple years ago. They have a couple guys in there. They actually picked up someone from Ottawa this year, a young goalie. I think it was Gustafsson.
Yes.
So again, just another guy that could potentially fill that role. Maybe not this year, but in the near future for sure.
All right. I want to end it with this. Obviously, this has been a big news today. We're dealing with the draft pick. I find it we actually had this conversation today, and Charlene has talked about it several times. Jeff Molson released a letter today apologizing for the draft pick and calling it a mistake. I think he tried to bury it in all today's news. We're ending the show with a positive. The positive is that we've had a great day in obviously the free agency. I think there's still more to come. I think there's going to be a couple more moves and trades, but we do have to talk about this just quickly. What are your thoughts Obviously, this young man, picked 31st overall, was said, "Hey, listen, I didn't want to get drafted. Leave me alone. Let me clean up my act." However, they've come out and said, "Listen, we'll help you clean up your act. We'll put some money into it and help you learn how to be a better person." Okay, honorable, but did they need to go down this path and certainly hurt the fan base? And Jeff Molson did try to, kind of settle the waters a little bit. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this whole situation could have been avoided if they didn't take him, right? And we're kind of seeing a similar issue with Carolina signing Tony DeAngelo, and it's kind of blurring the message that the league wants to send out to young players watching the game, where if you do something, you don't really have consequences if you're good at hockey, and we're seeing that with Logan Mailloux, I think his name is.
Yes, Logan Mailloux.
And the DeAngelo signing, it's just. The leagues are so much better with these guys not in it, and it is a bad look for the Montreal Canadiens and the league.
Hey, listen, certainly it'll take a lot for us to catch up to basketball and the NFL. So, guys, slow it down just a little bit. Jordan, great to have you back. Pops is saying, great job, boys. Went through withdrawal last week. Don't do that again. Hey, listen, the kid's got to have a holiday. Seriously. Look at him. Look at that smile. Look at that. He's glowing. He's glowing all the way from Victoria.
Literally.
Yeah, look at my head. I need makeup. Makeup on aisle 9. All right, Jordan, thanks, buddy. We will see you tomorrow on Gouche Live. Hey, listen, thank you for joining us. I'm at the Winnipeg Jets dressing room. Obviously, I'm waiting for Nate Smith to show up so I can give him some tips on that power play. We need some production on that power play. Scheifele will be back. Halak, I don't know why I keep calling Halak. I love Halak where he's gone, but we've got to make sure we shore up that defense, and I think they did a great job of that. Thank you for joining us on Free Agency Monday. Obviously, we are here on the bottom line. We want to thank Wayne Cowley for always being there for us. Chicken wings and beer. Make sure you check out the bottom line right beside the Hockey Hall of Fame. And finally, I want to thank you for taking some time out with us. Gouche Live, brought to you by the good people at the Hockey News and, of course, Sports Illustrated. Till tomorrow.
You've been listening to Gouche Live with your host, Kerry Goulet, better known as The Gooch, brought to you by the Hockey News and Sports Illustrated.